Alright, what's going on YouTube? We're back with some Baldur's Gate 3 mod videos. I apologize for the wait. Good news is I finally have my computer back, so for those who have been looking forward to the streams, I should be starting that back up sometime this week. But for now, we're back with another mod video. This time it's going to be of the Fate series Archer. I did a video previously, I want to say a couple of months back, of Saber, so if you want to check out that video and the subclass. So for that, I will leave a link in the description down below, or see if I can find a way to pin it somewhere within the video itself. But anyway, this is a level 20 class based off the anime series Fate, or anime, manga, visual novel. I want to say it was a visual novel slash manga first before it was an anime, but I'm not too familiar with the series, as I mentioned before with the Saber mod, but I do plan on watching it. It's on the list library of things. But anyway, enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and take a look at the level of progress. We'll take a look at the abilities, and then we'll take summon in our training dummy, take a look at the spells and abilities. We may do a combat scenario. I'll let you guys choose for that for the next video. I find that just doing the training dummy is a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, but if you guys missed the combat scenarios, I'll start bringing those back. Anyway, without further ado, sorry for rambling there. Let's go ahead and get started. So, the class starts off with the action, a cantrip, and 3 class features. The first one being the action of Trace On. This allows you to use projection, magecraft to summon weapons that you need at the moment. This is going to be very important as you level up, so this will allow you to summon different weapons, such as a sword, bow, and other things as well. So we'll get into that as we level up. You'll get the cantrip, which is Kanshou and Bakuya, I think is how you pronounce that. Again, I apologize if I butcher the names. This summons his favorite swords, the twin swords, and then we get 3 class features. It's going to be Hawkeye, which gives you advantage on perception checks. You have Concealed Origin, which is very similar to the same detriment and later on benefits that you see with the Saber class mod if you watch that video, which you start off with the penalty, and as you level up, that penalty slowly turns into an advantage. So you'll get -1 penalty to attack rolls, and then only half damage proficiency bonuses as bonus damage with sword. So instead of getting a full-on proficiency bonus with dexterity, you only get you'll get a -1. I'm sorry, -1 and then half damage. So keep that in mind as you'll start off a little weak early on, but you get stronger as you progress. And then you get the Superior Dark Vision, which allows you to see in the dark up to 24 meters. In terms of the abilities and the stats you start off with, you actually start off pretty even across the board. So Dexterity and Constitution are 2 ones that you really want to focus on. Wisdom's pretty good, but as you see, Strength and Charisma are pretty low. You actually start off pretty even in terms of points, so I wouldn't really change anything here. And for skill proficiency, that's up to your choice how you want to play the character. So we'll go ahead and start the level up process. Alright, at level 2, we get 2 actions. The first one is Main Hand Throw, which throws your equipped weapon of your main hand. And you won't lose your weapon, as with the ability to summon weapons, they'll always come back to your hand, so you don't have to worry about losing them. And you get the Offhand Throw, which essentially is to be able to throw your offhand weapon and have that also return to you as well. So we'll demonstrate that as we go through the abilities showcase here in a second. You get the passive of Fighting Style, so you can choose your fighting style. If depending on how you want to play Archer, you can focus on archery early. However, you don't really have a bow as of now. His bow, you can get a bow early on, obviously, but if you want to start your archery damage earlier on, you get archery for +2 to range weapons. Great weapon fighting if you wanted to have a 2-handed weapon, which you will get a little on, or you could do 2-weapon fighting if you wanted to have added proficiency early on with the twin summon sword. So you can't go wrong start out with either one of these. It just depends on how you want to play Archer. So we're just going to go with the 2-weapon fighting here just for my personal taste. But again, each one of these is pretty beneficial. At level 3, we'll get a new action. This is a Powerful Leap. Leap and deal 2 to 8 thunder damage to all nearby creatures. Your dexterity affects how far you can jump. The higher dexterity, the farther you can jump. This takes a bonus action and a con save, and you I think it's a 4 movement speed to actually initiate the jump. You have to have at least 4 movement speed to actually jump. And then you get 2 new cantrips, Tracing Main Hand. Analyze the structure of an equipped weapon, analyze some of its properties to the projected main melee weapon. I'll try to explain what that means once we get into the showcase here, so just keep that in mind. Same thing here with Tracing Offhand. Analyze the structure of equipped weapon and apply some of its properties to the projected offhand melee weapon. Again, we'll dive a little bit deeper into this as we do with the ability showcase. At level 4, we get 2 new cantrips. This is going to be Sniping Bow. Summons Archer's original sniping bow, so as I said here, you do get the ability to summon a bow a little bit later on at level 4. And you get the Trace Range, which is the same thing as you get with the Trace Offhand and Main Hand weapon. Lets you apply certain abilities to your summoned weapon. You get another fighting style choice here. You can go with Archery if you haven't picked it up earlier, or you get 2-weapon fighting, same thing, great weapon fighting if you like. And then we get some feats. Feats here, it's just again how you decide to play the character. You can go with something such as ability improvement if you want to bump up your dexterity, or if you want to do a salvage attacker or anything like that. So again, it's just however you want to play Archer. I'll leave the feats up to you. Level 5, we get the extra attack, and we get the Origin Sword. Your allies have proven reliable. You stop holding back and start at a 1.5 proficiency bonus to damage with swords. So there you go. See, as you get a little bit stronger, you start to do a little bit more damage. So that previous origin passive that we have is now changed to sword instead of concealed. We get the cantrip, Hurling Prepare. Ready to shoot with Hurting Prepare Shot and Hurting Red Round. So we actually take a look at that. Shoot a seeking arrow that pierces through 2 targets, applying marked by Hurting. I think I pronounced that correctly, and I apologize if I'm not. The arrow only strikes the second target if it does not already have marked by Hurting. And then we get the Hurting Red Round. Shoot a powerful seeking arrow that pierces up to 15 targets affected by marked by Hurting, dealing full weapon damage to each. So, yeah, you could definitely do extra damage and start marking a lot of opponents on the field. I don't think you'll have that many opponents in certain scenarios, but depends on how you play and if you add additional modifiers and things like that. But still a pretty powerful ability nonetheless. At level 6, we get the class feature Archer's Ulcery, or Alchicry. I'm butchering that, and I apologize. You immediately store your action and bonus action at the start of combat, which is a little strange. I guess like if you do an action, like a sneak attack action, you'll automatically rebuild that action or bonus action as combat starts. So essentially, he's really good for initiating combat because he still gets his bonus action and action in combat. And then we get the Calibog 2 Sniping Shot. I think that's how you pronounce that, Calibog. Projects broken phantasm. Calibog 2, God, I apologize for these names, and fire shot at the target, creating an explosion that deals 25 to 40 force damage and always hits the main target with weapon damage. So, take a look at here. That calls for 2 turns, and targets will still take half damage on a save. It's a con save, and you have to be within melee range, which is a little strange. Takes a bonus action and a regular action. At level 7, we get a bonus action, and we get a cantrip, Riho Aes. Again, apologize for the names. Get focused and create a shield that makes owner and allies inside it immune to all damage, cannot be moved against their will, be paralyzed, stunned, or get knocked prone, and affected by difficulty terrain. That is very, very strong. I don't know if you can only use this once per short rest, once per battle, or once per long rest. We'll take a look at that as we go in-game and showcase the abilities. But that's a very strong cantrip. At level 8, we get a new feat. Danger Sense. You sense when things aren't as they should be. You have advantage on dexterity saving throws against traps, spells, and surfaces. To gain this benefit, you cannot be blind or incapacitated. So as long as you're not incapacitated or blind, you'll have this ability on you, so you'll be able to see easier to see traps and other things that require dexterity saving throw. We get another feat here. Again, whatever you choose. Sharpshooter's pretty good if you want to focus on range attacks. Savage attack, you focus on melee damage. Again, just how you decide to build and play your character. At level 9, we get a new cantrip. Reality Marble, Unlimited Blade Work, Create a piece of your inner reality into the outside world while gaining enhanced abilities. And we'll take a look at that as we get inside game. As we can see, it doesn't really showcase the entirety of it. While Unlimited Blade Works is active, you can cast Create Weapons. Project 4 legendary weapons for unique properties. Blade Trap. Surround an enemy or block the way by razor-sharp blades that turn the area into difficult terrain and damages anyone foolish enough to cross it. Impale. Impale the target by throwing a weapon up to 30 meters. And Power of the Creator. Killing enemy grants an additional bonus action. So very strong abilities when you activate Reality Marble Unlimited Blade Works. And again, we'll showcase this when we go through the abilities. At level 10, we get a new class feature, Eye of the Mind. A danger avoidant ability that deduces the available means of survival on the situation. Enemies have disadvantage on attack rolls against you if you have less than 25% of max HP. So the less HP you get at the 25% threshold, the more disadvantage your enemies will have to hit you, which means you have a better chance of surviving, to heal your target, so on and so forth. At level 11, we get a new action, Calibog 2 Power Shot. Same thing as earlier, except this is a ranged attack that's increased a little bit of power. Instead of doing, I think it was 25 to, I want to say 40, now it does 45 to 80 points of force damage, potentially. Lasts for 2 turns, and targets still take half damage on a save, takes a bonus, and regular action. At level 12, you have a lot of actions and class features here. Class feature is Creator's Might. You can summon 2 legendary weapons per long rest and drop 2 unstable projections per long rest. And so we have a bunch of actions here. So Unstable Calibog, you can summon a Calibog here. Summon and drop a spiral weapon that pulls enemies towards the center with 8 meters and creates mud. It does 4 to 24 force damage on impact and enemies, and 8 to 48 force damage when exploding after 1 round in 4 meters. So very strong weapon there. We get the Unstable Caliburn. Summon and drops a roll sword that directs armed allies to strike and increase their movement speed. Deals 4 to 24 damage. It seems like they all deal the same amount of force damage, but does different abilities whenever they come in. You have the Unstable Durandal. Again, I apologize if I'm pronouncing these incorrectly. Summon and drop an unbreakable blade that challenges all enemies within the area. Same thing with the force damage of 4 to 24 or 4 to 84, depending on if it's or if it explodes after one round. We get the unstable nameless axe sword, and summon a colossal stone that blocks enemies next enemy's prone. Sorry, again with the force damage. We get unstable projection. Summon and drop unstable projection of legendary weapons from the sky. Each legendary weapon has a unique effect when it lands. Explodes after one round, imposing bleed. So the unstable projection, I believe, drops a projection of all these swords here around the area, which causes these effects to go off. And then you have the unstable rule breaker. Summon and drop an anti-magic dagger that unshackles allies. And so take a look at unshackle. Cuts the magical bonds, keeping a creature restrained, paralyzed, stunned, slowed, charmed, frightened, mad, or cursed, freeing it. That is a lot. That is definitely a lot. And then we have the cantrips. We can actually summon these weapons if we want. So you can summon the Caliburn, the Durandal, the Nameless Axe Sword, or the Rule Breaker. We also get the option of our last feat for level 12. Again, probably just max out Dexterity if you want. At level 13, we get the class feature Cruel Extraction. When you or an ally is attacked, directed to extract blade fractures. Sorry. When you or ally is attacked, reacts to extract blade features and possibly maim the attacker. That is not a real sentence. Blade fractures. Affected entity has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. And then maimed, move 3 reduced to 0 and has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. And then we get an action, weapon explosion. Exploded projected weapon unleashing razor sharp fragments that impale nearby characters. I believe this means if you summon a weapon, you can cause that weapon to explode once you have it on the field. At level 14, we get to choose our fighting style here. At this point, I would say with defense is pretty good. This does classify, I believe, as medium armor. You can go great weapon fighting if you plan on using some of the two-handed weapons, I believe, that you get with the summoned weapons. I'm just going to go with defense. At level 15, we get a new class feature. Phantasm Synergy. When used together, legendary weapons resonate with each other, applying unique effects. Equipping 2 of the same weapon grants no synergy effects. So basically, this means if you equip 2 of the legendary weapons, you'll be able to utilize combinations of those unique effects. I'm going to try and go over some of those combinations, but I'm also going to leave a link in the description down below if you want to read all over the combinations. Level 16, we get the class feature Creator's Might. You can drop 3 legendary weapons per long rest and drop 3 unstable projections per long rest. And we get an additional feat here. Choose what you like depending on what you've already chosen earlier. Alright, at level 17, we get a new passive called Unlimited Potential. As your legend solidifies, select which aspect of your spirit to awaken. You have Peerless Might. Permanently increase your strength score by 4. You have Flawless Reflex, increase your dexterity by 4. Reinforced Body, increase your constitution by 4. Tactical Genius, increase your intelligence by 4. Independent Action, increase your your wisdom by 4. And then Heroic Spirit, increase your charisma by 4. So, again, if you want to buff up one of these other abilities, so let's say we want to jump up Constitution by 4, we can drop that over to Reinforced Body. So now our Constitution and our Dexterity are both 20, which is pretty good. Or if you just want to do a lot more damage, have like a little bit more bonus not bonus actions, but more proficiency bonuses with Dexterity, we can bump that up to +7. At level 18, we have the class feature Unlimited Blade Works. Can create a piece of inner reality to the outside world while getting enhanced abilities at any moment. So we'll demonstrate that as we go into the showcase here in a second. At level 19, we get another Unlimited Potential here. So with that, we're going to go ahead and Reinforce Body, which increases our Constitution by 4, giving us 20 Constitution. And finally, at level 20, we have the Creator's Might, which allows us to summon 4 legendary weapons per long rest and 4 unstable projections per long rest. And then we get our final feat. Again, kind of choose what you like here. Ability improvement if you want to bump up any of your other statistics. Again, just depends on what you've already picked. Some of these would probably be good to get early on, like Alert, if you plan on honor mode and things like that. Again, just pick what you like. Alright, so with that being said, I'll go ahead and get ready to do the showcase here. Give me one moment. Alright, so while we're here in the showcase here, I had to do it combat-wise to get it a little bit easier because I have like a bunch of additional bonus actions and spell slots and all that stuff. So, Trace On. As you can see here with Trace On, we have the ability to summon a couple of weapons here. So let's say we want to summon our Sniping Bow. So now that gives us our equipment here, the Sniping Bow. So we take a look at some of the abilities here. Long range, which attack range increases to 30 meters. You gain advantage on attack rolls from 25 meters and beyond. Accumulating effect, it deals additional damage equal to your proficiency bonus plus an extra half per every 10 meters beyond 10 meters. So the farther you are the more damage you'll do with this weapon. Improved critical hit. The number to hit to roll a critical hit while attacking is reduced by 1. This effect can stat. It has a weapon enhancement of +2, and then you get some of the proficiencies when you have this here, which is going to be off-balance shot, which I believe these are all vanilla proficiencies here. Brace, multi-shot, and then volley. And so going on to that, we can still summon some of the other weapons here. First one we can take a look at is going to be the Kanshou and Bakuya. We have to do that next turn, unfortunately. But we can take a look at some of the range abilities here, see how much damage it does. So not too bad, 34 damage. And we can throw this if we want, but we'll save that for next turn. We do have the Calibok Shot Sniper too, so we'll go ahead and use that. It does take a long rest to recharge, but does quite a bit of damage. Causes the target the blind, it's now burning. We also have the Hunt Prepare, which lasts for 5 turns, so we'll do that in the next turn here. So, prior to that, we still have the ability to summon weapons. The one thing I don't like about this mod, and I'm not sure if I'm doing something incorrectly, which I might be, is that whenever you summon weapons, it doesn't stay with you in combat. So you always have to do the trace on effect. Now, I could be doing something incorrectly. So for example, I just summoned the twin swords. However, taking a look, they say they last for until the next long rest. However, whenever I go to my next turn, they're gonna disappear, which is kind of bothersome to continuously have to summon them every start of your turn. But anyway, take a look at the weapons. Nothing really too special here. Get some little flavor text at the bottom if you want to read that. But in terms of abilities, nothing really too fancy. Again, just texture-wise, they look really good, but nothing really special in terms of the abilities. I can show the powerful leap. Has a nice effect on the ground here. Does pretty decent amount of damage. And so we'll go ahead and we'll use some of these other abilities here on the next turn, because we'll have to do some projected weapons as well. We'll also do the Unlimited Blade Works and all the other abilities here in a second. I mean, it's fine if we get to the attack, that's fine. So, again, that's what I was mentioning earlier, that the weapons just tend to disappear whenever you summon them. Again, it's not as bothersome as you can always resummon the weapons. However, it's a little annoying. I think these are just prolonged rest, I guess, like the Caliburn, the Durandal, the Nameless Sword, and the Rule Breaker. So maybe this is a little bit more of a permanent weapon. If so, that's a little weird. I would like to say probably just, if I was to change the mod, I would definitely have the other weapons just kind of like summon it until the next long rest. Be a little bit more balanced. Kneel before the king. On hit, the melee attack forces the target to kneel for 1 round. Approach the king. The target hit by this by a throw is affected by a throw command come for 1 round. Affected entity has to move towards the spellcaster to use the shortest route possible. Cannot take any other action or bonus action. So this is if you want to pull the target towards you, but they can't really do anything afterwards. And then kneel is pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of like being knocked prone in a way. Cannot move or take actions, bonus actions, or reactions, and disadvantage on strength and dexterity saving throws. Attacks against prone creatures have advantage if they are made within 3 meters of the creature. A prone creature must spend half its movement points to stand up. So again, it's kind of like being prone. And we have Aura of the Kingdom. The owner and its allies in 4 meters have a 1d4 bonus to saving throws and attack throws. Weapon plus enhancement 3. We get some abilities here, such as King's Orders. Direct an ally to strike and foe increases movement speed by 3 meters. The ally uses a reaction of their next turn to make a weapon attack. So we don't have an ally, so we really can't showcase this one, but pretty self-explanatory. So damage-wise, it's pretty decent weapon in terms of overall damage. We have 11 of the 20 versatility, so it can be used in both hands. So if we wanted to, we can also summon the Durandal if we want. Take a look at that. So we still have the other weapon in our hand, so we can duel with these if we like. But with the Durandal, you have ignore resistance. After hitting any of the following attacks, ignore resistance to immunity to slashing damage during the round. Armor destruction. every melee attack hit reduces target armor class by 1 for 2 rounds, and then ripped wounds. The area affected by throw target sustains a ripped wound, which ripped wound takes 4 to 7 piercing damage every time they move. Weapon enhancement of 3, and then we have compel the duel, which a vanilla spell. Basically force the enemy to engage only in combat with you for 2 turns. So you can dual wield these weapons if you have the dual wield ability, which is probably something you do want to pick up. But at the very least, you can summon these and switch between them. So we'll go ahead and summon the other weapons as well. The Nameless Sword. So Nameless Sword. Chest trauma. The affected by a throw target sustains chest trauma, which I believe it just bleed every time they move. I'm sorry. Has disadvantage on Constitution saving throws and has 1 fewer action. And then we have heavy melee, which is melee attacks hit enemies reeling for 3 turns. Basically, just knocks them back. And take a look at the other weapon, Rule Breaker. Spell resistance, you gain advantage on saving throws against spells. All spells supposed to be broken. Each hit breaks your target's concentration and silences it. Nullify Contract. A melee attack on a summoned item or creature dismisses it, so this is really good for getting rid of spawned weapons and things like that. And then we have a action there called Unshackle. Cut the magical bonds creeping a creature restrained, paralyzed, stunned, slow, cursed, mad, frightened, or cursed, freeing it. So basically, you can just free an ally from any of these debuffs. In terms of damage, each one of these weapons is pretty decent. 11 to 20 for the 2 long swords. 12 to 22 damage is not too bad, and then for the dagger, 11 to 14 is not too bad either. The power comes from the abilities that you get while you can throw them. So, for example, if I was to throw this weapon, so you see the target silenced and automatically returns back into my hand. We also throw other weapons too, such as the Nameless Sword.
First step is the hardest.
And so those weapons automatically do come back to our hand, so we don't have to worry about actually equipping then throwing. And so, as you see, each one of these benefits / detriments are being affected now. So you throw the weapon. See, we have the silence for 2 turns, command approach, which is going to force him to come to us. We do have some other abilities here. We have the tracing main hand. So again, tracing main hand's a little weird. I believe it's supposed to give you benefits of the weapon that you have. I don't know the structure of equipped weapon applies some of its properties to the projected melee weapon. I think what that's supposed to do, and again, let me see if I can figure this out for sure reading into it. I believe that what that's supposed to do is, give me 1 second. So taking a look, it's one of the major updates here. So the added Archer's canonical abilities to analyze and improve weapons. He has now 3 skills that open up a large build tree. Main hand applies a scan weapon's passive effect right hand weapon. So I wonder if I have to place a weapon on the ground and then scan it, and that's going to give the properties of the weapon I have in my hand. We'll test that after we go through the rest of the showcases here. So moving on from that, we have the Hunter Prepare, so we can do that, which gives us access to 2 abilities here, which have to do a ranged weapon, which we'll do that here in the next turn. So we have our sniping bow again, and so we can use these abilities here. Hurting red round, and we have hurting piercing shot. Now we only have 1 enemy here, so we really can't do too much. But as you see, he is marked, and then him being marked should give us extra abilities with the red round here. We'll back up a little bit. Which missed, which is surprising that missed. Must have rolled a 1 on that. And so we also have Blade Trap here, which we can use.
Make haste. I would have words with you.
pretty cool ability. So if he walks through those, we'll take damage here. And then we have Impale. You probably can't use because he's surrounded by the blade, so we'll deal with that a little bit later. Let's see, create weapons. So we'll summon to create weapons on the ground, which I believe we can also affect that with weapon explosion. Which may be a little hard to do because they are stacked on each other. Unfortunately, I can't move them out the way, but just for the sake of the video. So we can use that to explode the weapons that we have on the ground. Which, again, the ability is cool in concept. However, I think it makes it a little bit harder to actually be able to space out the weapons that you throw if they're going to be all stacked on each other. I think what probably would be good would be able to, if you use the create weapons, you should be able to place the weapons where you want them to be. So that way you can use the ability of explode weapon a lot more efficiently, able to use like the properties of the exploded weapon. Because that's kind of the point of using the weapon explosion, is to use like the ability of the weapon. As you see here, whenever it's thrown, we're supposed to be able to use like, you know, the all spells must break, essentially, right? At a more ranged advantage. So again, that's just my thoughts on it so far. But we have a few more abilities to showcase, so let's go ahead and skip a little bit forward. Alright, so we have Rio Alis. Get focused and create a shield that makes the owner and allies inside immune to all damage. Can be moved against their will and paralyzed stun. So we'll just showcase that. So you have the aura around us, which you see here. We're immune to all damage. I doubt we'll take any hits from our Chad here, but the effect's pretty cool nonetheless. And then we'll go ahead and do limited blade works here the next couple of rounds. So we can't use reaction because we're focused, which is fine. So we'll go ahead and take a look at Unlimited Blade Works. So this may cause a little bit of screen craziness, so. As you can see here, there's a lot of summon blades in the sky. That's pretty interesting to see what these blades are supposed to do. So I guess this is kind of like where more of the explosions come from, too, from the Unlimited Blade Works. So if we use to do this, I guess, correctly, we can do something like this. And then by contrast, more or less, I think that's the premise of using Unlimited Blade Works. Again, I think compared to Saber, it's not as flashy as Saber's abilities are. We showcased all the other abilities as well. So I'll go ahead and try and show these last two here. So you have the power shot, which we did a little bit earlier. Back up a little bit. Quite a bit of damage. I think it actually did explode the swords around the two, dealing additional force damage. So I guess that's kind of the concept of trying to be able to like combine these spells and these abilities. Again, not as flashy as Saber's, but we'll go ahead and end the combat scenario here, and then I'll try and see if I can sort of do like the analyzation for the tracing, because I think I understand the concept of what it's supposed to do. Matter of fact, what I think it's supposed to do, I do have some random weapons here. Matter of fact, So I think it's supposed to analyze that weapon and get some of the properties. I think that's the whole premise of what it's supposed to do. I haven't actually been able to figure that one out myself, but if someone does test the mod themselves and wants to let me know exactly what the premise of it is, or maybe like explain what the ability is supposed to be in terms of like the anime, I have a little bit more understanding. But that's going to be it for the showcase of Archer. We have an unstable projection. I'll go ahead and do that here. So I guess it's like another way you can showcase those special legendary weapons is to be able to throw them, which you can do 4 times per long rest. Oh, so he can throw the weapons back. That's funny. And so there we go. So the weapons explode if you throw them using the unstable projection. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is a little bit longer because there was 20 levels to showcase, plus actually going through each one of the combat abilities. I would say it's not as flashy as Saber's. I think Saber's is a little bit more straightforward and a little bit more flashy. I think Archer has potential, but probably something I wouldn't use in a full playthrough, just because, again, I think having to always summon his twin blades every round is a little annoying. Yeah, I think it's just a little annoying that you have to summon the twin blades every round. I think it'd just be a lot easier if either you can just have these until like the long rest, like the legendary weapons. I also think the legendary blade works could have a little bit more flair to it. I like the concept, but again, the execution, I know it's limited by the mod, like the mod creation kit itself, but it just seems like it's sort of lacking. So in any case, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Sorry for the wait on this one. I will be back with some more videos this week as well as streaming, so hopefully you guys look forward to that. Catch you next time. Take care.